on HB 381, Representative Faulkner.
Members, this bill, I'm honored to be in front of you. Y'all bear with me a little bit. This is the Sarah Marsh, Heavens 27, Camp Safety Act. Most of you, most of our body signed on to this bill. That's in honor of Sarah Marsh, a little girl from my area that attends the elementary school by my house. And Sarah's mom, Jill, is here today. And I'm going to ask the chairman in a moment to let Jill Marsh, Sarah's mom, speak to you. At the end of June of last year, about 750 girls went to the all-girls camp in Texas, Camp Mystic. One of these was young Sarah Marsh from Alabama. In fact, she's the only member of Heavens 27 that's not from Texas. The Heavens 27 group of girls that lost their lives that tragic day on July 4th last year when those floods swept them away. They were between the ages of 8 and 10. Those parents trusted that basic safety systems would be in place when they took their, like we do, when we take our kids to camp. And what happened at Camp Mystic exposed dangerous gaps in how youth camps are regulated, monitored, and held accountable. These gaps exist not only in Texas, but in Alabama and across the country. Yet, in many states, camp safety regulations are minimal, inconsistently enforced, or outdated. At Camp Mystic, there was no effective emergency communication system. Self-service in the area was unreliable, and counselors were required to surrender their phones. There were no walkie-talkies, no intercoms, and no effective way to communicate evacuation instructions to each cabin. In the emergency, where minutes matter, the void left staff unable to coordinate a response and left counselors and campers without guidance. Even more alarming was the absence of a viable evacuation plan. Alabama sends thousands of children to in-state and out-of-state camps every year. Parents reasonably expect that camps that operate in our state or serving Alabama families meet rigorous safety standards. But many states, including Alabama, rely heavily on self-reporting, limited inspections, and vague emergency planning requirements. What this Sarah Marsh Heavens 27 Camp Safety Act does, members, and the bill that you've co-sponsored with me, is it brings common sense. Emergency preparedness licenses, we're going to require emergency preparedness licenses of our summer camps. We're going to have a public registry of licensed camps. The license will be by the Alabama Emergency Management Agency, and we're going to fund that for them to issue these licenses and do these inspections. Licenses will be valid for 5 years and must be updated if a camp changes its boundaries or adds new cabins. It's going to require emergency action planning. Camps will be required to create and update annual emergency plans that cover flooding, evacuation, and shelter-in-place plans, zones for gathering in case of emergencies, communication plans with parents, mandatory safety systems, an NOAA weather radio, notification protocol to communicate with staff when cell service isn't there, camp-wide alarms that are audible both indoors and outdoors, required safety training and drills, prohibition of cabins in flood zones, and staff background checks. Members, let me say this about our camps in Alabama. We have great camps in Alabama. I attended camps in Alabama. My children attended these camps, and they've been nothing but great. And I want to thank them for working with me on this bill, especially Rob Hammond and Alan McBride, and then Kim Adams with the Camp Association, the lobbyists for them. They've worked with me a lot on this bill. We do have great camps, and they are doing good things. But we need to make sure that we need to have this as a requirement so that people can make sure what they're doing is safe. And that's the point of this bill. Even if you're already doing this, like most of our great camps are, the things we put in this bill, don't you want to know that what you're doing is good? You know, and is the right thing to do? So that's what this bill's about. And I don't want to insinuate that we have bad camps, that we're doing bad things. We don't. Not to my knowledge. Our camps are good camps. But we want to make sure, and that's what Sarah's legacy is going to be, is that we make camps safer, so for more children than potentially, and Sarah's legacy will be that she saves lives. She saves other children's lives. And I'm going to ask, I will talk about the bill in an amendment to the bill in a moment. But Mr. Chairman, would this be a good time to bring up Jill Marsh? Or would you rather me talk about the amendment?
Okay, yeah, I would like to offer the amendment. Well, what we're going to do is let Representative Faulkner explain it.
Yes, yes. And members, let me apologize to you.
Yes.
You just got this amendment. So I'm sorry. And you're like, David, it's hard putting an amendment in conjunction with a bill. Why didn't you just do what you have in front of you? We were trying to make sure that we covered the definition of camps. And we were excluding residents at an educational institution. That's right out the bat on your first page. Then we were defining what is a camp operator. And we wanted to make it clear what a camp operator was and who's not a camp operator. Pretty simple. That takes you over onto page 2 down to about the middle of that page where you see who is not a camp operator. Or those first 3 lines right there. Then we've got at the bottom there, we have about the camps expanding in a floodplain and what the provisions are if that changes, and if a floodplain changes, or if you get FEMA does a change to that, what you need to be able to show in addition to that to be able to get your license. Again, that's all applying to cabins that may be in a floodplain. And then at the bottom of page 3, we changed that here's why we did this. We were talking about emergency response plans being given to parents of campers. That's still in here. But we had a provision that you could give your emergency response plans to prospective campers. What we've done is we took that out and said, if you're not registered in the camp, then you can get the certification. You can get their license that they have met and got the emergency preparedness license. But then once you become a camper, you can actually get the emergency plan. So we made that brief change. Camp operator, just here we had that they've been subjected to criminal background checks there on page 4. This is, members, is on page 4, is that if you lease a camp, if you go up and lease a camp, you have an obligation to be familiar with the emergency plans of that camp. So this is what we were doing. We were making it clear who's a camp operator, who's not. So if you're somebody that leases a camp and you have kids for the week and you're the one responsible for those kids, then this is what page 4 is about. It's telling you that you agree that your staff members supplied shall familiarize themselves with camp operation emergency procedures. So that gets you into page 5. And I think we were just clearing up some language there, emergency managers. And then we added a representative from the YMCA to the advisory board. And we changed the language of section 14. Nothing in this act shall be interpreted to change any element of civil liability with respect to any possible claim against a camp. So that's what the amendment does. I know it's a little confusing, and again, my apologies.
Well, I know you've been working on the amendment right up to now, right? So, thank you for that explanation. Do we have a second?
So moved.
Okay. All in favor of the amendment, say aye. Aye. Okay. Any opposed? Okay. So we're on HB 381 as amended. If it's okay, I would like to vote it out before we bring the mother up. That's
Yes.
Okay.
That'd be fine, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. We have motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So this bill passes. Please bring the mother up.
And Mr. Chairman, I want to, before I bring Jill up, I want to thank Governor Ivey for her support issuing that statement. And she said this during her State of the State. She was going to help improve with her flood notification system, that she also wanted camps to be safe. So thank you to Governor Ivey for her support. She's issued her support of this bill. Speaker Ledbetter for co-sponsoring the bill, along with many of you. But I've got to also thank Emily Schultz. Emily has worked tirelessly with me on this bill. Emily is close personal friends with Jill. So we really have appreciated her time. Will Fuller has worked a lot with us to help with this bill. And there's others, but I just felt compelled I need to say that. And I want to thank Jill for giving me the honor to honor her young little girl.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And you know, we all want our children and the children of Alabama to be safe. So thank you for bringing the bill.
Jill?
And we'll try to get through this.
I have a few more pictures. Typical parent, right? Thank you for letting me be here. My name is Jill Marsh, and I'm going to make it through this. The greatest joy and honor of my life is getting to be John and Sarah's mom. Sarah was the most kind, welcoming, enthusiastic, and fun 8-year-old little girl you'd ever meet. If you had the privilege of knowing Sarah, she'd somehow make you feel like you were her favorite person in the world. She was curious, adventurous, loved meeting new people, trying new things. She loved Jesus and was eagerly growing in her faith. 8 months ago, Sarah was beyond excited to be going to camp for the first time. And she'd tell anybody she encountered about her upcoming adventure. You know, we'd be checking out at the grocery store and she would tell the clerk. 7 months and 7 days ago, Sarah died in a flood while at camp in Texas. Her body washed almost 20 miles downstream. She died along with 26 other precious daughters, sisters, and friends. Heaven's 27. They died because the camp wasn't prepared, because they weren't required to be. This camp was a well-respected Christian camp with almost a century of experience. Yet they didn't even have safety measures in place on par with what we require of schools or daycares, because they didn't have to. As a parent sending your child to camp, you assume so much about the camp's preparedness, their training, their priorities. Their whole mission and livelihood hinges on being entrusted with other people's children. Yet we're all human, and often our sinful nature requires guardrails, laws to protect us, to protect others, and to uphold basic safety standards. As in Texas, we discovered that Alabama had no such guardrail requirements for our camps. While we hope and believe that most camps already have many of these measures in place, House Bill 381 will provide a standardized framework for Alabama camps to ensure that every camp meets common sense standards for prevention, detection, training, and response to natural disasters. If Texas had in place 8 months ago these measures that we're proposing that you all just passed, Sarah would still be alive. All 27 girls would be alive. So Alabama has the opportunity, the information now, to prevent future tragedies like what happened in Texas. We want all children who come to Alabama camps to enjoy the magic of summer camp. But that magic can only be fully realized if kids are safe. So thank you for helping us ensure that Sarah's not remembered by her death, but by her incredible, beautiful life, and that her legacy will help keep children and the joyful experiences of childhood at camp safe. Thank you.
Thank you. You will be in our thoughts and our prayers.